Hello. I feel like that'll be just fine. Maybe. I'll lift. How's that? Hey. Haven't been on the camera for what feels like a long time. Welcome. I have a candle in front of me that I will light, so hopefully if this angle isn't good, it'll change soon. That's Junie playing the keyboard. So today I have done a few things. Took a bath. That was really nice. I'm gonna read an article from this newspaper here as a invitation to honesty in nature, because this is pretty intense to me. I'm looking at the clock over here. I'm gonna light this candle with an intention, so if you'd like the intention to resonate to with you, I'll share it with you. I didn't plan this. The intention to know truth within each of us, to know the truth of who we each are individually and as a whole. An intention to be in harmony with relationships. I met someone really quite fabulous and I am really thankful for the work I've done before, learning how to speak clearly, learning how to say what I mean, not react out of something that's harsh, because when I now meet this person who means so much to me, I really am honored that I know how to speak to him kindly, and to know how delicate the human heart is. Really, it's quite powerful how even, something can obviously make your heart drop, but you can also get flutters and, wow, are we sensitive beings. The intention, too, with this candle is to continue to self-promote, to be confident, to fully embrace who we are. I know that I have special abilities because I have, as I've expanded my consciousness, developed these skills, I would say, and just new abilities to experience reality, the way I feel, even sensations. And I know that as kids, and so people with kids, to share and letting them know that their experience the birds are chirping and it's dark out. I don't know where I was going with that one per se. It's really just I know that I don't fully understand, of course, how powerful of a person I can be with creating my own reality, and as to everyone else is creating their reality, and to think back to who I was as a kid. I looked at this thing that I wrote out in probably like 3rd grade today, and I was trying to like cue into the consciousness that I had then as I was writing it, because my language was so unique in saying what I was saying. So yeah. 12:38 on the clock. 12:39 on the clock. I'm gonna go ahead and light this candle for y'all and myself. What surface to put it on? Let's go. There we are. Interessante. Ah! Don't burn yourself. This one. Ayo, there we go. Nope. Y'all are seeing me struggle, and I'm okay with that. I don't know why this fucking thing is not lighting. I'll just look at that one for now. Fuck! Fuck! Come on now. Come on now. Light, bitch, light. Okay, wonderful. Oh. Oh. And it went out again. I seriously don't know. Come on. Yay. Alright. Now with that. I'm gonna come over here and read this article encouraging y'all to turn off your lights. And, that's it. Gotta face this way. So this was written Saturday, October 7th, 2023. Titled Chicago Lights. Let me see. Titled Chicago Lights Lure Birds to Death. Associated Press. David Willard has been checking the grounds of Chicago's Lakefront Exhibition Center for Dead Birds for 40 years. June, you're not... June, put this... She's like, what? Okay. Checking the grounds of Chicago's Lakefront Exhibition Center for Dead Birds for 40 years. On Thursday morning, he found something horrible. Hundreds of dead songbirds so thick they looked like a carpet. Nearly 1,000 songbirds perished during the night after crashing into the McCormick Place Lakeside Center's windows. The result, according to avian experts, of a deadly confluence of prime migration conditions: rain in the low-slung exhibition hall's lights and window-lined walls. It was just like a carpet of dead birds at the windows there, in quotes, said Willard, a retired bird division collections manager at the Chicago Field Museum, where his duties included administrating, preserving and cataloging the museum's collection of 500,000 bird specimens, as well as searching for bird strikes as part of a migration research. End quote. A normal night would be 0 to 15 dead birds. It was just kind of shocking outlier to what we've experienced, Willard said. In 40 years of keeping track of what's happened at McCormick, we've never seen anything remotely on that scale. Researchers estimate hundreds of millions of birds die in window strikes in the United States each year. Scientists with the Smithsonian Conservation Biology Institute and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service released a study in 2014 that put the number between 365 million and 988 million birds annually. Window strikes are an issue in almost every major U.S. city. Birds don't see clear or reflective glass and don't understand it's a lethal barrier. When they see plants or bushes through windows, or... Is this still recording? Yes. I thought I heard something. When they see plants or bushes through windows or reflected in them, they head for them, killing themselves in the process. Birds that migrate at night, like sparrows and warblers, rely on the stars to navigate. Bright lights from buildings both attract and confuse them, leading to window strikes or birds flying around the lights until they die from exhaustion. A phenomenon known as fatal light attraction. In 2017, for example, almost 400 passerines became disoriented in Galveston, Texas skyscrapers, floodlights, and died in collisions with windows. Quote, unfortunately, it is really common, said Matt Igleski, executive director of the Chicago Audubon Society. We see this in pretty much every major city during the spring and fall migration. This, in parentheses, the window strikes at McCormick Place, end parentheses, was a very catastrophic single event, but when you add it all up across all the country, it's always like that. Conditions were ripe for a massive wave of songbird southern migration over Chicago on Wednesday evening, said Stan Temple, a retired University of Wisconsin Madison wildlife ecology professor and avian expert. Small songbirds feed during the day and migrate at night to avoid air turbulence and predators. They've been waiting for northerly winds to give them a boost in the south, Temple said, but September saw unusually warm southern winds that kept the birds in a holding pattern here. On Wednesday evening, a front swept south, providing a tailwind, and thousands of birds took to the skies. You had all these birds that were just raring to go, but they've been held up with this weird September and October with temperatures way above normal, Temple said. You had this huge pack of birds take off. The birds swept south over Chicago following the Lake Michigan shoreline and right into the maze of illuminated structures, Temple said. Pre-dawn rain forced the birds to drop to lower altitudes where they found the McCormick Place's lights on Willard said. According to the Field Museum's count, 964 birds died at the center. That's about 700 more than that have been found in the center at a point in the last 40 years. Willard said members of the 33 species died. According to the Field Museum, most of them were palm and yellow-rumped warblers. Window strikes and fatal light attraction are easily preventable, said Anna Pigeon, an avian ecologist at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Building managers can simply dim their lights, she said, and architects can design windows with markings in the glass that the birds can easily recognize. The National Audubon Society launched a program in 1999 called Lights Out, an effort to encourage urban centers to turn off or dim lights during migration months. Nearly 50 U.S. and Canadian cities have joined. So that's that. I was in a club, I would say, at Purdue that was a sustainability action preventative program, and they had students that would go around each Friday and turn off all the lights in the buildings and outside that didn't need to be left on. So yeah, there's already this in motion, and I encourage you to turn off your lights in migration patterns, in migratory. Hello. Hope you're enjoying the candle. It's beeswax. Purifies the air. If you're looking for a meditative practice, you can imagine a flame sitting between your eyes inside of your skull. I titled this video, How to Be Honest. To be honest, I am really glad I'm alive right now. I had a very special Easter. I feel like my life has grown tremendously throughout the past week, and I feel like there's so much to be grateful for. I've seen too the truth in duality, like how really necessary it is to weigh both sides. Because I filmed last week How to Love Your Shadow, and I mean that in itself was very healing for me. I had a video on my other channel, get a comment on it, on my journal video, where I read a journal, that said, you talk about your parents, do you have any siblings? And this is where my honesty likes to hide. It's hard for me to imagine that I have a family of disharmony. Like, it's hard for me to admit to myself that there is a tightness in my gut when I talk about these things. Like, to be honest, my childhood was a lot of family disharmony. I have a half brother. He is my mom's child. And he was made differently than I would consider myself to be made. There are people in life that, when created with ill intent or it's disorganized, it's chaotic. I'm being honest in the way that I have a brother, and I didn't like talking about him too much, especially in school. I remember he got arrested, and I was in 5th grade, and I was so scared that my teacher would see in the newspaper his face and ask me about it. Which, like, I would love to be able to, like, tell myself at that age that it's surely not a reflection of who I am. And I think that family dynamic exists in a lot of families, especially when you have parents that are a narcissist or just aren't open-hearted. People close their heart, and thanks for listening if you're here. This is very interesting. So my sibling is a root of dishonesty for me, because I was not truthful with myself in my relationship with him, and I hope that me being vulnerable here can give light to others if you've experienced this, because I remember, like, pushing strong emotions down so much that as a kid, like, say, like, 8 years old, like, actually, like, being a child, and obviously, even at that age, we are the masters of our own mind, right? We invite thoughts in. We have full autonomy over our experience. And I would tell myself, be like, damn it, I remembered today. Like, meaning, like, any sort of trauma that, like, lingered, and if I thought about it, I would be hard on myself for remembering it. So I was straight up repressing my emotions. And even talking about it, which is the light of this video, like, even talking about it takes it off, like, takes any sort of weight or barrier out of the equation, because when I let this flow through me, like, any sort of embarrassment really just goes away, because I know I'm one in a billion, like, there's so many people on this planet, and for me to experience something is so in sync with, like, so many other people's experiences. Like, yes, I'm special, I'm also not special, and the fact, like, it's perfect duality. This is an experience that has happened to not just me. And, that's okay. To be honest, is feeling like this, like, feeling like I can talk about whatever, and, like, also not feel like I have to entertain at the same time. Like, I can be like, like, happy-go-lucky over here, but that's just not the state of what I need to convey right now. So, thank you for listening. I don't talk about my sibling much, so this little tidbit, he's not in my life anymore. His wife DM'd me on Instagram when he proposed and said, "Hey, I'm your new sister-in-law." Bitch, get the fuck out of my DMs. There's a prayer called a Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. You can look it up on YouTube, and basically it's a blessing to any beings that you feel you have a cord to, that maybe it's not serving you anymore. And I feel like the order can switch up, but usually I find myself saying first, I'm sorry, and then I forgive you, I love you, and thank you. So you can imagine a person